Hello guys, and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan. Today we're looking at a NATO gameplay where me and Maciek are playing against Richard and Fry on the enemy team, who are playing Pact. Now, I haven't done a gameplay in a while, and this one was really good. It was not like really sort of strong in the sense that we did everything perfectly and everything went wonderful. It was just one of those games where it really showed a lot of tactics that could be useful, and therefore I like to pick gameplays that actually show tactics and things that can be useful for you guys to know during these battles. So anyway, you can see the first flare I put down here. Now, this was me and Maciek basically sorting out strategy. I was like, well, if you can secure Juliet and hold it for most of the game, we're likely to win. Because that's the thing with Rivers of Blood. Whoever controls those middle sectors really does control the game. And in a 2v2, what you can do is, if you have someone focus on defending those middle sectors, the other person has a free reign to do the rest of the sort of damage while the other person is defending. And that's exactly the sort of strategy that we use in this 2v2 today. So I'm basically going to go to India, capture that with my CV, and then move straight on towards Gulf and Alpha. Now, I believe I also leave back a command vehicle as well, and use a VAB to push forwards. Now, I'm actually using my British deck here. Now, obviously I've also got French units on there to fill the gaps, but basically you can see I've got the Sultan as a defensive unit, has armor, and basically keeps it safe from artillery. Got that one front and one side. That side is very useful. Then we got the VAB PC here with only the one front but the extra speed. And you'll see that speed come in very handy, because I'm going to go full on attack. I'm not going to have much defense, so that means I need to have a command vehicle that can survive by itself and get away when it needs to, and that's exactly what I do. And you'll see as the game continues exactly how that pans out. Now, you can see here I've got my normal Gazelle AH1 and Gazelle cannon. Now, I noticed that both players in the Wargame Cup final both use the same strategy. I don't know, I've used it since like forever, so I don't know whether that's been picked up along the way. But I've got a Lynx AH1 here with some SAS. I've got 4 Abbots, which are my close artillery support. I've got an ERC 90 Sangay, which is going to push ahead, and I've got a Marder Roland 2 to protect my command vehicle. Now, I accidentally delete my VAB PC. I don't know how that even happened, but here you can see I've got a couple of Fusiliers as well to help protect that. I've got a couple of Scorpions which are going to protect both approaches on the roads from Juliet and from Gulf down here. So I'm going to have constant recon across the front line. And then I've also got 4 Spartans and 2 Saracens. The Saracens have paratroopers, the Spartans have Fusiliers, and I've also got another set of 2 Saracens here which also have paratroopers. So basically, the reason I've got the paratroopers split in 2, I put the Spartans in front to make the wall of Fusiliers, and then you use the paratroopers on either side that don't get focused to really pound on the enemy, and because the paratroopers have that extra HE and therefore they do more damage. So you'll see that actually that doesn't really go as planned, but as the game progresses I'll get to that. Now, I do have a couple of Challenger 1s as well. Don't see these used very often, but I really wanted to make a play with them, so I brought them in. I've also got my 4 Saracens with blowpipes to protect the base. Now, my ally has also 2 Gazelle cannons and a lot of Fuchs with Jaegers, M15 Itos and Bradleys with Rise Patterns and Rolands, and also his Sultan at the back, which is very good. I admired him for sort of keeping it at the back, especially when you're going aggressive towards the middle. Anyway, you can see here that I quickly point out that there's a big rush coming on the left, spotted by my Gazelle in the middle. Seeing this MI9, I instantly split off my Gazelles to go and attack that. My Gazelle AH1 is staying across to the right, and I soon bring it over to the left to keep tabs on this rush incoming. Anyway, as that gazelle gets closer, I realise that the speed of these vehicles coming down here is soon going to mean that my gazelles would be flying over the top of a lot of units, and therefore I don't push them up any further. My lynx comes over the top and gets a really good outflanking position behind the rush. Now this is very important because it distracts them and makes them have to think about protecting their lines behind, which really stops their rush. You can see that they stop their rush there. They probably saw my APCs positioning towards this forest area here. I try and land my SAS before they get shot down, but they do get shot down and survive, which is lucky enough. Artillery comes in to try and pound my APCs, but unfortunately he kind of aimed it before he saw it and kind of assumed that I would be rushing down the road, but then basically misses because I put them into the trees. But he does manage to snipe my recon, which really annoyed me. It was kind of a big mistake. I should have realised that he had some AA across here, but I instantly returned fire with Abbots onto that as soon as I saw it. So anyway, I have to eventually bring in a replacement for that, and Maciek has secured the middle sector. Now he starts to get artied on his command armor, and what I say to this is you should move the Sultan forwards, not backwards. You don't want to lose this position. I'm saying move it forwards. He won't expect that. My SAS is still being a massive problem, basically because they're likely to shoot behind his Mi-9, and he has to send back 4 Scott 2As to go and deal with that. And those are the Scots which come with HGMs, and that really sort of like alleviated a lot of pressure on the front line here. And it also means that because he doesn't drop out troops to go and deal with them, that he's actually dropped out his infantry already on this front line, meaning he's much less mobile. Now here he does manage to get a spot onto my paratroopers, and therefore does continue to arty them and destroy the whole entire squad there. But with this centre sector secured, we do a really good job of getting those points early on, which help me to sustain my push on the left once he starts to attack me. Now, to really put off the enemy, I know that he can see me. So what I do here is I split off my Spartans, not with the Fusiliers. I've left the Fusiliers behind, but I split off the Spartans and I spread them around. This means that he's going to arty these Spartans one by one, because he can see them, and I know he can see them. And that means that it's going to alleviate that artillery pressure on everything else. Now over here he brings forward some Iglas. My Sangay does get a nice shot onto them, and he does shoot down one of my cannons before I react in time. But with that I do manage to get one squad, and with the help of my paratroopers take out that. Also, in the meantime, I've moved the Marder Roland out of this bush to the left here and shot down his Mi-9, leaving him with no more recon. And in the meantime, he's started to put the artillery onto the paratroopers that he spotted earlier. Now I move the Saracens out of the bush and leave the paratroopers there. The reason I do this, again, is to basically trick him into thinking that I've moved the Saracens out with the paratroopers in them to get them out of there. Now, seeing that he's left these Iglas here, I take advantage of that, pepper them with the Abbots to get some more kills. Taking out a couple of squads there. Unfortunately, the last one gets away. Now, with him bringing forward some Mi-24Ds and Mi-24As to attack these Saracens, I bring out the Marder Roland 2 once again and snipe the Mi-24D before he moves it back, giving me an extra 60 points. Now, throughout the game, my friend on the right is unfortunately attacked very heavily, so he does a good job at defending, but with my attacks as well, and pressuring on the left, I do a good job to keep them occupied and make sure that the guy on the left who's facing me doesn't attack in the middle as well. So here you can see that my VIB is actually very, very unprotected. Say if they flew a chopper around the edge here, then came up onto India, they could do a lot of damage. But because I've got this sort of front line, it means I don't have to have anything in the back. If a helicopter came round, I would just use a Marder Roland 2, which is surrounded by this big unit of forces here, to snipe that down. Now he does counter artillery my abbots quite badly, and therefore I do have to bring in Chinooks to repair them. Now the reason I have Chinooks is because they're British. I would normally bring in Super Chinooks, but being a purely British deck, I don't have them. So it's either British units for everything except from the empty spaces which are filled up by French units. So anyway, you can see that here throughout the game, these two Scorpions placed in this hedge line here and across here basically give me the security I really need. If anything came down these roads, it'd be spotted by these Scorpions, and then as soon as that gets seen, I can just move the V8B PC down here to the bottom of the map and just escape into these forests somewhere, or maybe over the bridge into the home sector. Also on the right, the same would apply. I've got my Challenger 1s also in the middle in case for now, but I do eventually move them over to the left to help me push onto his troops. Now throughout the game, Maciek's very good at communicating throughout the game, and that's what I really like with the teammate. I like to have that. I do often play 2v2s without necessarily the sort of communication I'd like. Here you can see I send up a Saracen to sort of scout. That's empty. That's just the couple of Saracens from the paratroopers. One gets destroyed by an ATGM, but I use that to identify where they are, and therefore as soon as I do, send in the abbots to fire on that position. As soon as that happens, my Chinook starts to repair and resupply them, and I get a nice peppering onto his forces there. Now throughout the game I have to continually micro these abbots about, because as soon as I fire with these, you can see that he fires his own arty back straight away. And seeing that, Chinook gets out of there, and then I move my abbots away. And that's sort of a lot of the story. I also had to move my VAB PC, I believe, just to get it out of that sort of arty circle there. You can see in the meantime the pressure's still being put on to Maciek on the right, and he does manage to get quite a lot done with this Bradley, which I felt was being quite useful, to be honest. I didn't really see this throughout the game, but it seems there that he's using these Bradleys to very good effect throughout the game. Now it does seem like quite a long game, but it did last for about 30 minutes, I believe. We've got 220 points to 300 at the moment. They are technically winning. I've got 210 points in kills because I'm obviously pushing on the left. Here you can see a Scorpion going up again to recon and find out what's about. Now as it gets closer, it obviously comes off the road. I push it up on the left here to try and identify units. As the game continues, I decide to bring in a few strikers. The Scorpion gets killed without much intel, and my Chinook comes back to repair the abbots, which are continuously fired upon by counter artillery. Now here you can see what I was mentioning earlier about the Challenger 1s moving over to the left. Now, at the beginning of the game, Maciek put Chasseur for Masse into here, and I felt that was a really good move, because look what happens now. He starts to rush down across his bridges with BMP-1s. The Chasseur for Masse snipe all 4 BMP-1s with one shot from their rockets. They drop out the second lot, but I've already preemptively started firing with my abbots because I know that he's going to unload to try and take out these Chasseur for Masse, and with my help with the artillery, you can see how directly I hit them. His Chasseur for Masse only lose 6 men versus 8 BMP-1s and 8 squads of Motor Strelki. A massive blow there for the enemy. That almost puts us equal, and my abbots once again take counter artillery, this time from the player on the right. He's obviously not happy with that engagement. My Chinook makes out there barely, and my Abbots drive off towards the enemy in safety. Now, a lot of people don't assume that you ever when they attack you, they expect you to run away. They never expect you to run towards you or towards them, and that's what can really catch out a lot of players. And it's definitely a good thing to do, and that's often what I did with these Abbots throughout the game. Now here you can see Spartans with Fusiliers. They are the equivalent of Fuchs and Jaegers, but for British, and they're slightly more expensive. But basically you can see here, I've only got eight of them, but I'm basically doing sort of counter push, similar to this thing here, with all these dead BMPs. And yeah, you'll see just how effective that was. Assuming that he pushed down the middle, he didn't think that we were going to do the same back, and he didn't recon this at all. Now, if I just quickly switch to the overall view, you see he has nothing here. There is no recon. How stupid is that? Like, he's got all his stuff on the left. Because he knows I'm very focused on the left, he's also focused on the left. But one of these recons could have been used over here, and he is completely blind to it. So as soon as I get close, I split off the Spartans and I go searching for his command vehicle. You can see I've split them off there. I send 2 or 3 to go and search for it here and quickly spot it, and as soon as I do, I turn around my other Spartans to follow. But basically I've sent one up here just in case it's in this forest, and all of the forests are quickly scouted out, and then I continue to push across the bridge into his main base. So at the moment they're very, very spread out. You can see that in the middle, Maciek's taking a lot of damage. I'm controlling him on the left here as he pushes forward T-64As, and my Spartans are running riot in his back lines, heading straight towards his artillery. Now while this is going on, Maciek's having a big army with Spetsnaz and T-62s on the right. Unfortunately, being so close to these T-62s was not such a good idea for Maciek, because he really got caught out by those tanks there. Rise patterns are good, but not really good in close combat. You're supposed to use their guns for longer range. I try and stop my Spartans here to really catch out this Mi-24V, but unfortunately don't. I'm continuously chasing towards these missiles with the Spartans, and they are going to slowly catch up. I've got another Spartan trying to search for his command vehicle. Now I've also got these 2 Spartans which broke off from these 8 Spartans to go and search hotel for that one as well. Now, unloading next to the FOB, I make sure to destroy all units as quickly as possible. I take out the RTs, and I get this Spartan close to the Tunguska so I can unload the Fusiliers to take out this as well. Because as soon as that Tunguska is dead, I can take control of this FOB. Also, I've found his UAZ here on the left and taken that out. Now, that's the trouble with using UAZs. They have no armor, and with that he just lost it completely, because he had no time to run away from my Spartans, because the machine guns from the Spartans could easily destroy an unarmored vehicle. If he had an armored command vehicle, then he really could have easily just driven away from the machine guns of the Spartans and would have had to rely on me getting the Fusiliers out of there. But because of that, I don't. So I'm pushing Spartans from his own base into the back of Charlie. I've also still got these Fusiliers in hotel, and another Spartan that's still alive and running out of fuel, but nonetheless I'm all over his back line. I've destroyed his artillery, or a couple of pieces of it. I've destroyed his command vehicles. That boosted us into the lead by almost 400 points. And it really made a big difference in this game. Well, Maciek kind of decided, kind of was defending basically throughout it, and me pushing into the back forces them to attack. Because I've taken out their reinforcement points, they really need to make some sort of move here, and they take their command vehicle out of hotel, and are like really panicking right now because they don't know what to do, and therefore they attack Maciek, who manages to survive just about against all these Danners throughout the game. Now I probably should have been using my abbots a bit more here, but because I was microing the Fusiliers and Spartans so much, I didn't really get a chance. But these abbots would have really been good to attack this Mi-26 and Danners on the ground here. I do manage to spot his command armor, and I do swiftly mark that on the map. But I have also microed in the meantime Fusiliers into this hedgerow, this building, and this building all around his FOB, just to make it a really big pain in the ass for him to get that FOB back. Because I'm not planning to keep his main sector, I'm just trying to be annoying. So here you can see I do eventually fire at his Danners, but it's a bit too late. I lose the recon that I had, and it's a lot less accurate than I would have liked. So I've still got a Fusiliers and Spartans in hotel, and these Fusiliers are slowly moving down without now their APC to help them. Got a couple of groups of strikers, one on the top of the hill here and one down here to help protect Foxtrot and, well, this forest. We didn't capture Foxtrot throughout the game, but our main idea was to just sort of prevent them from getting it themselves rather than capturing it, because we would have had to defend it further up, and that could have been a lot more risky. Now, on the left here, you're probably wondering why I'm bringing in so many Gazelle cannons. And it's actually because I spotted this thing here, a command helicopter. And the command helicopters on the pact are really easy to make out because they have a distinct shape. The ones in the NATO side just look like Hueys, so potentially they could just be landed Hueys after they've taken out like after they've dropped off their troops. But because it's packed, it's quite easy to identify, and I do RT it as soon as I see it. Unfortunately, he manages to get it away. But as I said before, I have these 8 Gazelle cannons coming in. I've got 2 Lynx AH-7 tows as well, because I'm British. But here you can see how much of basically a problem for the enemy my Fusiliers have been. These have been a massive distraction. Although they're not really doing much damage, they are just being frustrating in general. And he can't get his FOB back to sort of prepare and resupply his helicopters. Now my abbots again are taking counter artillery, and I do get a warning from Maciek about that, thankfully, and he helps me to micro them away from the counter artillery before my abbots get destroyed. And that's a good thing. Another good thing about having a good teammate is it's really just the coordination allows people to sort of do stuff like that that's really, really helpful. Now, knowing that most of their forces at the moment are over here, I have spotted this BRDM, so I do know about that, and I do mark it on the map just in case. Looks like Maciek's trying to go and snipe that, but unfortunately gets caught out by a Tunguska. And I have moved my strikers further up towards Charlie and Alpha to really get a better position against any armoured vehicles in the area there. Now here I push forward my Gazelle cannons. What I didn't realise is that he's moved his entire force. He's moved his entire force from this forest here down to here. And I didn't spot it. So what does he do? As soon as I do spot it, he obviously knows it's up, and he's going for the attack. My Challenger 1's got completely out of position, but you'll see the beauty of the Challenger 1. He takes a front hit from this tank up here, T-62A. With these Scott 2As coming in very, very fast, I'm very worried about the infantry. He did drop out the infantry early, however, and therefore screwed his chances of killing this Challenger effectively. Now up here, my Challenger 1 is getting absolutely pounded in the front and side armor. They have 10 front and side armor, or they have 10 front armor and 8 side armor. With that, he pushes straight up towards it, but doesn't do enough damage. You can see it's on 3 health. My paratroopers unfortunately don't manage to snipe a couple of those T-64s pressing onto me. This Challenger 1 is continuously reversing as he pushes these Scott 2As towards me. I'm trying to get these Fusiliers as quickly as possible towards these APCs that are pushing towards it. Just continuously pressing all this infantry up now, but if it had been in the APCs it would have been a lot more successful. And because I don't want this infantry being resupplied, I do start firing on these T813s with the Fusiliers and Challenger. Now this Challenger at very, very close range just manages to snipe a couple of these T64 BMs. Because they are panicked by the Fusiliers at the bottom of the hill, I managed to get 2 of those kills and leave a couple on 1 bar of health each. What I really didn't expect though was 4 Conquer squads sniping my Challenger just like that. That was not the plan. And here you can see that my Challenger is still fighting close range with infantry. That's really, really what the British are so amazing at. Fighting very close range to infantry. Because the infantry never have missiles that are strong enough to penetrate the Challenger's front armor without being extremely close. Now I'm firing my own artillery towards their infantry. It lands directly onto their Motostrelki and Vizicari. You've got the Spartans moving up towards the base and just getting out of there as quickly as possible. My Challenger 1's nearly running out of fuel, but it's just about getting out of there. It's lower than quarter. That's when you start to get the symbol pop up. So it has still got 500 litres, but with that I brought up my tow and I'm trying to snipe these last couple of T-64 BMs. And with only 1 Challenger now, I'm basically sort of stuck. And he does manage to spot this VAB PC. But this Challenger has really sort of made the day. And it's ranked itself up by killing a couple of Spetsnaz squad. This Tunguska unfortunately snipes my Lynx tow. But the one on the right here does continue to attack these BTRs. Now here I've got, again, my Abbots firing artillery towards his infantry. His infantry is very, very grouped, and I preemptively fire in front of it so that he walks straight into it, and it's exactly what he does. And with that, and my Fusiliers firing from the flank, I managed to do a hell of a lot of damage onto this group here. Now, on the right, however, at the same time, Maciek's trying to take out the enemy's Danners. And even though I am very busy down here, I do believe that I bring in Gazelle cannons to go help him with those vehicles. So even though the enemy team had all of the sort of things they needed, I really caught them out, especially with like these Fusiliers, for instance. They're still in their base. Because they're so focused on the bottom of the map, I still have Fusiliers controlling their FOB. I've got another Fusilier squad back here, which I actually forget about. Could have gone and attacked those helicopters at the back there. But because I'm also concentrating down here as well, with my Challenger taking out 2 squads of Motostrelki with 1 shot, we're just finishing off now the rest of the artillery. Or the rest of the infantry, sorry. On the right, I've captured a couple of their T813s as they try and reinforce at Hotel. And again, that spots his command helicopter, which I don't proceed to attack immediately. But I've still got complete control over this map. You can see we've still controlled Juliet, Echo, Bravo and India. They struggled to hold on to Alpha and Golf. They had to move their command armor from Charlie back to Alpha just to secure this reinforcement point, and it really put them in an awful position. My strikers kind of get caught out here, but they aren't in too much trouble. It's really the artillery that we need to take care of at the moment. Still got these BTRs, however, in my own forest. It's kind of easy to forget about these, and I've got my VOB PC over here, so if they did try and rush towards it, I would be able to get it away reasonably easily. But like I said, brought in a couple of gazelle cannons now to really take care of these last few units. Now the game is very close still. You can see that I've got 2,000 kills, Maciek's got 500, and the enemy team have got sort of around the same amount, 1,400 and 1,000, making us very close. We're only 200 points apart in terms of team score. But I bring in the gazelle cannons now, snipe his MI-26 on the ground. His Danners are trying to make it away, but take out one of his Danners. Once these get on target, they do a serious amount of damage. In the meantime, on the left here, my Fusiliers are being attacked by Motor Strelki and BTRs, but they're being resupplied by their T813s, which I captured off them. So, you know, it's just one of those things. The map awareness is very, very important, and if they'd known that, then, well, they would have seen it coming. Now here, trying to chase down this last Danner with the gazelle cannons. And I do eventually manage to take that out. And then I move back to take out the Mi-26. Still got these BTRs in the woods, so I put my Fusiliers in there to go take that out. My Fusiliers in hotel are being annoying, so he puts his command helicopter over to Golf. And with the destruction of this Mi-26, it secures us the win with 3,500 points. And there you go, guys, 28 minutes 35 seconds. A very, very intense game, and hopefully you learnt a lot from that, because there was a range of strategies used. For instance, my artillery, which is quite close to the enemy, you can see that my abbots were actually less than 2,000 meters, well, I think it was maybe 3,000 or 4,000 meters from his infantry, but allowed them to be extremely accurate and really, really turned around that infantry rush. He probably should have kept the infantry in the APCs until they got closer to my tanks. I'm not sure if he knew that those tanks were there, because his lack of recon in the middle really showed and allowed me to get those Spartans in with Fusiliers, which absolutely tore up his backline. You should make sure you always use armoured command vehicles. Like, I know they were on the enemy team, and it's nice to be able to destroy command vehicles, but it still frustrates me when I see it. You got to make sure you use armoured command vehicles, because that can save you from a situation like that where you maybe have a lack of recon in one place or another. Microing those backline sort of pushes is very important, and I think I did that very well in this game. Maciek did a very good job of defending, and you can see that although he got quite a lot of casualties and a lot less kills than me, I did a lot of the damage, because obviously at the end there my gazelle cannons picked up a lot of those kills on the artillery, and that gave me a massive boost in points. But I was basically the offensive player in our team, and Maciek was the defensive player. So that was how our team dynamic worked, whereas the enemy team, I'm not sure really how they did it between them. But there we go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.